Okay, class, today we're starting our unit on genetics. What are genetics, you might ask? Well, genetics is this huge, big subject that involves your DNA and genes and such. It's what an organism inherits from its parents and how that stuff makes it look and act. We're going to be talking about how this stuff happens and what people are doing with information about genetics later on. First, you guys have to know about DNA. Okay. Remember when we learned about cells and then the nucleus inside the cell? Well, inside the nucleus, there are these chromosomes who look like this. Now, inside these chromosomes is DNA. It comes in a really long strand all wrapped up around proteins and kind of looks like a twisted ladder, which is called a double helix. This is the Watson and Crick model DNA. The sides of this are made of sugar phosphate, and the rings are nitrogen bases. They're made of adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine. Okay, so this DNA has all the instructions about how to make the organism. Now genes, not blue genes, but genes, are pieces of your DNA that an organism inherits from its parents and say what specific proteins to make that organism. Now a gene isn't the same thing as a trait. A trait is something the organism exhibits on the outside, like, say, you have the trait of large ears. Alleles are the option of all the traits you can have in your genes, like you have the allele for large ears instead of small ears. But class, remember, all this is basically the same thing except it refers to different parts.
Hello, my name is Gregor Mendel and I am studying pea plants. Wouldn't you join me as I discuss my findings? Now, some people call me the father of genetics since I've learned so much through my studies of pea plants, and I guess I am. I found out a lot about heredity and the way genes are inherited to an organism from its parents. Why don't you come with me so we can look at the pea plants? Ah, here we are. You see how there's more green pea pods and yellow pea pods? That's because the gene for yellow pea pods is recessive and is taken over or overcome by the dominant gene of green pea pods. Here, I'll show you a Punnett square, and maybe you'll have a better understanding of it. The big G represents the dominant gene, and the little g represents the recessive yellow gene. You see, both of the parent peas have one yellow pea pod gene and one green pea pod gene, and they are both green because the green is the dominant gene. Their genotypes, what their genes say, are big B and little b, and their phenotypes, what actually shows up on the organism, is a green pea pod. Now, will you direct your attention to the offspring of these two pea plants? One out of the four has a genotype of big G, and the phenotype of a green pea pod. Because it has two of the same genes, it is a purebred. Two of the offspring have a genotype of big G, little g, and the phenotype of a green pea pod. Because of the fact they have two different genes makes them a hybrid. One of the green pea plants has a genotype of little g, and has a phenotype of a yellow pea pod. Since this plant has two of the same genes as well, it is also a purebred. Now do you see how genes are inherited from the parents to the offspring?
I'm going to write a song for when the new baby comes, and I thought since you know so much about science and stuff and how you're going to be the mom, that you could help me with it. What do you say, honey? Oh, come.
Sure, what do you want to know?
Well, what the color hair with the baby would probably have and other stuff about, what he's going to look like and stuff like that. What do you think?
For hair color, let's see. We can make a Punnett square. Here, let me draw one. See, look. You have the genotype of big H for brown hair and little h for light hair. Now I have the genotype of little h for light hair. The probability of the baby having a brown hair is 50%. Probability is likeliness of something happening. The probability of the baby having light hair is 50%. So yeah, so they're 50-50 basically.
So what should I do? What do you think? What should I do? Come on. Tell me.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm not sure what to do here.
Well, since it's 50-50, I'd stay away from hair color in the song.
Oh, okay. Well, listen to my lyrics that I wrote. I think it's good. Oh, the beautiful colors of the world you will see. Little newborn baby and me.
I don't think he should do that one either. He might be colorblind.
What?
I'm a carrier for color blindness.
Whoa, whoa, what do you know? Oh, I didn't know that. What?
I'll print out a chart from the internet to show you. Hold on. Now this might as well be us. Color blindness, along with other sex-linked traits, is carried on the X chromosome. Because the X chromosome is bigger than the Y chromosome, the X chromosome has some traits on it that aren't matched up with anything on the Y chromosome. That way, even if the sex-linked trait is recessive, it still shows up in the phenotype of the male since it doesn't have a counterpart in the Y chromosome. Since we know the baby is a boy and he's going to be XY, and I carry color blindness, there's a 50% chance that he would be able to see color. So, there you go.
That's very interesting. Oh, that's a kind of a bummer. Well, here we go. Here's some good lyrics. Listen. Oh, baby boy, you are my sunshine, you little baby boy.
That's nice, dear. Come on down to the genetics engineering lab. I have blue, green, yellow, and purple hair. Yay! You are probably aware of the old way, selective breeding. This is where you pick animals with certain traits and breed them over a long period of time to get them the way you want. Like dogs, for example. All of these came from the same species through selective breeding. You may think this is great, but just think about how long it took to get these dogs the exact way people wanted them. Ages! But with new genetic engineering, you can have whatever kind of pets, or even kids, you want in the blink of an eye. All we do here is change and replace genes with things like recombinant DNA. This technology has been used in the past to make better crops, to produce things like human insulin to give diabetics, and for medical research. Now it can be used to change you, your loved ones, or even your pet's genes. I have antennae! So come on down to the genetic engineering lab to get your genes changed. I have skin that sparkles in the sun. Mitosis and meiosis. First, we're going to talk about mitosis. The first stage of mitosis is interphase. The chromosomes in the nucleus duplicate and the DNA is copied. You cannot see the chromosomes at this point. The second phase is prophase, in which the chromosomes are visible and spindle fibers go to the opposite ends of the cell. The third one is metaphase. The pairs of chromosomes line up in the center of the cell and each one is attached to a spindle fiber. The fourth and most exciting phase is anaphase, where the pairs are separated and pulled to opposite ends of the cell. The fifth phase of mitosis is telophase, in which the chromosomes form nuclei and the cytoplasm separates into two cells. And now we move on to meiosis. Meiosis is like mitosis in that it involves cells splitting up, but is different in that it produces haploid sex cells. In meiosis, there are two divisions of the nuclei, meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. In meiosis 1 is exactly like mitosis, and in meiosis 2, which you're watching right now, the newly formed cells split into 4 cells with only half their chromosomes, these being haploid sex cells.
Taste all you feel, and all that you love, and all that you hate.